Just another beautiful day in Colorado Springs. How you guys doing? Alright, I am Never a Dull Moment. This is my first moto vlog ever, so do be kind. Today, topic is, what is it like riding a 50cc scooter? For the rest of this video, I'm just going to be calling 50cc's scooters, just because I don't have to say that a million times, but for future reference, when I say scooter, that's what it means. Anyways, that out of the way. Yeah, this is a big question I had when I was kind of shopping around for scooters and that kind of thing. You know, basically, it seems like there's kind of two camps when it comes to scooters. The first is that people say they're, complete waste of time and money, they're too slow for anything. Can't really use them for much more than just, I don't know, riding around on the side streets or whatever. There's just basically no practical purpose to buying one. The other side says, they're super fun to modify, you can do this and that, and you can get up to, 50, 60 miles an hour. I know people have ruckuses, they get up to like 70 miles an hour. They're all modded out. But I mean, I would say I don't really like either of those approaches. I think that a 50cc can be a very good machine for the right person. I'll talk about a little bit more of what that means in the future, but starting off, I'll actually get to do a little acceleration here and show you some of what I'm talking about. When people look at the top speeds of some 50cc's, let's just be kind and say that they're, 40, 45 miles an hour. They kind of look at that and they go, okay, well, I can just, maybe I can modify it a little bit. Here I'm doing accelerations. Let's show you how long this takes to get up to. This is 15, it's 20, not quite at 25. Hanging out for a bit, and 30. So you can see that took a while to get up to that speed. Now, the issue that I wanted to bring up is that people, they look at that top speed, and so the declared top speed on this one's like 40, or maybe like 42. That does not mean you can just go and use it on, you modify it and then go use it on like 45 mile an hour streets. Because it takes a while to get up there. I mean, it's like, it's not practical. You do not want to be, maxed out on your speed just keeping up with cars. Especially because, when you're on like 45, 50 mile an hour roads, it's not uncommon that people go 5, 10, 15 miles an hour over the speed limit. So, and it's just how people drive sometimes. So, it's a fact. So yes, I can definitely understand where the mentality comes from, that, you can't really use them in the same way that you could use a lot of other vehicles, motorcycle, a bigger scooter, like a 150, 200, 300 cc. But I am actually really glad that I bought this scooter, and basically what it comes down to is planning your routes accordingly, and that's a huge part of it. So you can't really use a scooter in the same way that you could, like a motorcycle, because you just can't use it on every street. But if you have decent back roads that you can ride on, if you're willing to kind of take a look at a map, kind of plan things out accordingly, and they can be quite practical. You can use them really to get, my pretty much daily commute. I go to school like 6 days a week, mostly just to use the gym, because it's summer right now. But yeah, during the school year, I'm there about the same. So I'm going there all the time, and it's 8 miles each way. and I far prefer it to driving a car. It's a lot more enjoyable. It's a lot cheaper just because I get way better gas mileage. It's just, I wouldn't trade it. So, and it's a really great option because of that. Another really big advantage of 50cc scooters is that you can buy them typically for very cheap. When you're looking at brand new, there's actually not a big cost differential between a 50 and like a 150 and a 200. Like there's maybe a couple $100 difference, but going new, I would just buy a bigger scooter, just plain and simple. But when you're looking used, you can find a lot of examples, where somebody buys it, maybe it's just a toy or something, and they don't use it very much, or it didn't turn out to be what they expected, and then they just throw it up on Craigslist for a couple $100, and you can nab those up. If you're willing to spend some time on Craigslist and kind of find the right deal and bargain a little bit, you can easily spend less than $1,000 on a scooter. Of course, beggars can't be choosers. If you want a specific model or something, you're gonna have to pony up a little bit more money, but it's still very cheap. Another really big thing that I like about scooters is that, and motorcycles actually, is that they tend to hold their value much more consistently than really any other kind of vehicle that I've seen. Cars, for example. You can buy a car and then a year later you can go and sell it, and you can lose thousands of dollars on it. I've experienced that before. I've lost a lot of money selling a car that kind of ended up being a lemon. And with bikes, you just don't really get that in the same way. I don't necessarily fully understand why. I just know that that's kind of the way that things are. So if you find a good deal, obviously you want to know a little bit about it mechanically, but I would kind of spring for it. There's some great forums. I really like r/scooters on Reddit. But those can be really great resources for just kind of, you find something, just throw it up on there and see what people say. You don't want something with a ton of miles. You don't want something that's been completely neglected. But it's not very hard to find a scooter that will, that will suit your needs for the most part without spending a ton of money. Typically, name brand is, going with like a Yamaha, Suzuki, Honda, that kind of thing. And I don't want this to become like a whole buying guide, but basically just kind of covering the basics here. In general, these are the kind of things that you're looking at with buying a scooter. I'm about to go on my like regular route to school here. But yeah, I would say some of the best reasons to buy a 50cc scooter is if you're genuinely looking to actually save some money, kind of in the long term. Like you're not gonna make hundreds of dollars back in gas over a month. So over time, if you're willing to consistently ride a scooter, if you want to buy something for cheap and you're willing to use it a lot, a scooter can be a great option. So I'd recommend trying them. Something that I think is a big reason why people go for 50cc's, and it's a bad reason, is that you don't need to get a motorcycle license. Now, I know that sounds a little bit hypocritical because I'm here, riding a 50, but what I mean by this is that a lot of people, they kind of fit a square peg into a round hole, and they don't want to get a motorcycle license, they don't want to spend the extra money or whatever, and so they just get a 50 because, you know, it's easier, I guess. But I mean, those are exactly the reasons that you can find scooters for so cheap, is because, you know, people don't think about what they actually need, what's going to be the best option for them or anything. They just go, oh, well, this is the easiest thing, and they get it, and then they hate it, and then they sell it, and then they lose a bunch of money because, you know, they were just thinking about the initial cost of the scooter. I mean, I'm sure it happens for some people too, is they fall, they don't realize it takes a degree of skill to ride. And I mean, it's super common to see scooter riders without any gear. I'm really big on wearing, you know, pretty full gear all the time. Because I mean, it's just you know, people think, oh, it's, you know, you're going slow, you're not going to get hurt, it's whatever. I've actually never been to this school over here. I'm going to check this out. Little bit of gravel there. These are the kinds of things you have to look out for in a scooter. Any imperfections in the road. Yeah, but people think, oh, you know, you only go, you know, 35 miles an hour, you're not going to get hurt. Well, first of all, no. You rip your skin up pretty bad, even if you're going 35 or just slightly above it. Second of all, I mean, if you're actually going to be riding around the street, you've got a lot more to worry about than just how fast you're going. So, at the very least, wear a helmet, because my God. I mean, if you've never ridden before, you're just going to sort of go and just see how it works. I've never been here before. Not going to go great. I am a big supporter of wearing a jacket as well, motorcycle jacket. First of all, because they tend to be a lot more comfortable. They've got good, like, vents and stuff like that, wind protection, that sort of thing. But also because they're really going to help protecting against road rash. A lot of them will have pads built in, or they'll have pockets where you can put pads in. So a lot of the potential, at least major injuries that you could sustain from falling or getting hit or something like that will be protected against. So I really don't see much of a reason not to. Yes, it's an additional cost, but I mean, you're paying with your cash, or you're paying, you know, with your health. So I think it's a pretty easy choice. There's a couple schools over here. So yeah, those are kind of some major points I just wanted to cover here on scooters, and you know, I hope that's some food for thought. I think really take a look around your area. You think about your commute, think about what you actually need. And oh, I didn't know this went through. Look at that. I'm gonna go ahead and turn. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, so yeah, think all that over. I think it sounds kind of weird, but I think a really good way to get a feel for what your kind of slower roads are like is actually to, if you bike around a bit, just kind of get a feel, or if you use biking directions on Google Maps, if you just want to, you know, look at your computer, take a look at the routes and kind of see how busy the streets are. Look at the speed limits, look at the, you know, if there's good bike lanes, because at least in most states, you can ride a 50 in a bike lane, which can be very helpful. That's what I was doing earlier in this video, even just because I don't accelerate quick enough sometimes. So it can be a really nice little thing to exploit. This is a nice road. I've never been down here before. But yeah, I mean, it's scooters are a great option if you're not so concerned about the speed and the status per se of a motorcycle, but you just want, you know, a practical transportation instead. I know where this is. That goes into a beautiful park. Ooh, yeah, we're dropping out. Yeah, I can get up to about 40 on a decline. little over 40, yeah, just a little bit. It is so funny how fast it feels, because it's such a small bike and it's so light, and I mean it's barely designed to go over 40, so there's just a lot of things at work that make it feel, you know, significantly more dramatic than the actual speed. Yep. Yeah, but scooters are extremely fun to ride. And brake, lean, and do a, oh, there's a thrift store over here. I should buy a couch. Alright. That's all for today, folks. I hope that this was helpful. Please leave a comment down below if you've got any further questions, and I will attempt to get back to you as soon as possible. Full tuck here, so kind of what kind of maximum speed I can achieve. Going faster than that biker over there. That's how fast I'm going. Yep. Oh, not as fast as this Prius though. This Prius has got it going on. Oh, look out for him.